Oh, so it looks like we're live. Hi, everyone. Sandy here from Think and Grow Rich Daily Hangouts. This is strange. It told me there was a server error and it couldn't start the recording, and now it's working. So anyway, we're a little bit late today. I couldn't connect to the internet, such as the joys of traveling. But here now. So welcome to the Hangout. If you're watching live or if you're on the replay, then we're actually starting. Well, no, we're not quite there. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. We're at the very end of the book, so I'm just going to open it because I just realized I thought we'd finished it, and I've gone straight to the lecture notes. Because what we're going to do now is actually, after we finish the book, is read from lecture notes that were made after Napoleon Hill did a series of lectures well after he had published Think and Grow Rich. It's actually really interesting because he adds in things that he noticed after publishing the book, observations that you don't find in the book that really add to the overall philosophy. So we're just finishing up with Outwitting the Ghosts of Fear. So I'm just going to go and find that. And basically what we've been reading about these past few days, this week, is how to actually have fear be, something that doesn't control you, how to be stronger than your fear. Because it's absolutely possible to do that. And sometimes people think that because fear can feel so strong and so scary that it kind of just takes hold of them. But actually what he shows is that it's literally just a state of mind and that you can change it very clearly. So I'll just get to, we were on, so he'd been talking about Henry Ford, how Henry Ford had the kind of willpower and control over his mind to actually create a business as successful as Ford, when many people would have given up because a lot of people were telling Ford that what his ideas were crazy, they weren't going to work, and he didn't listen to anyone except what he knew inside, what his gut instinct was telling him, that he could make cars. And that's exactly what he did, and became extremely successful in the process. So I'll just share my screen here. And we can get going. Okay, so we're up to 57 famous alibis by Old Man If. People who do not succeed have one distinguishing trait in common. They know all the reasons for failure and have what they believe to be airtight alibis to explain away their own lack of achievement. Some of these alibis are clever, and a few of them are justifiable by the facts, but alibis cannot be used for money. The world wants to know only one thing: have you achieved success? A character analyst compiled a list of the most commonly used alibis. As you read the list, examine yourself carefully and determine how many of these alibis, if any, are your own property. Remember too, the philosophy presented in this book makes every one of these alibis obsolete. If I didn't have a wife and family, if I didn't have enough pull, if I had enough pull, if I had money, if I had a good education, if I could get a job, if I had good health, if I had time, if times were better, if other people understood me, if conditions around me were only different, if I could live my life over again, if I did not fear what they would say, if I had been given a chance, if I now had a chance, if other people didn't have it in for me, if nothing happened to stop me, if nothing happens to stop me, if I were only younger, if I could only do what I want, if I had been born rich, if I could meet the right people, if I had the talent that some people have, if I dared assert myself, if I had only embraced past opportunities, if people didn't get on my nerves, if I didn't have to keep house and look after the children, if I could save some money, if the boss only appreciated me, if I only had someone to help me, if my family understood me, if I lived in a big city, if I could just get started, if I were only free, if I had the personality of some people, if I were not so fat, if my talents were known, if I could only get out of debt, if I hadn't failed, if I only knew how, if everybody didn't oppose me, if I didn't have so many worries, if I could marry the right person, if people weren't so dumb, if my family were not so extravagant, if I was sure of myself, if luck were not against me, if I had not been born under the wrong star, If it were not true that what is to be will be, if I didn't have to work so hard, if I hadn't lost any money. Whoever just joined, we're getting an echo. Oh, there we go. If you could just mute, thank you. If I lived in a different neighborhood and
I don't know if you can hear me, Sandy, or not, but Sandy is having some problem with their internet connection this morning. That's why we started late. So, oh, okay, great. So we'll just kind of wait for a few minutes here and see if she can reconnect here. I think she was in the process of reading the last part of the book. She was in the process of reading just the last, I think it's the last 4 pages or so, which is the series of ifs, you know, so,
you
okay.
must pay if you do not use it. The price is failure. There is a reward of stupendous proportions if you put the key to use. It is the satisfaction that comes to all who conquer self and who force life to pay whatever is asked. The reward is worthy of your effort. Will you make the start and be convinced? If we are related, said the immortal Emerson, we shall meet. In closing, may I borrow his thought and say, if we are related, we have, through these pages, met. The end. Ta-da! Okay, I'll stop there because rather than go straight into the lecture notes, I think we could do that tomorrow. So I'll just come back.
Unfortunately, I didn't. I had read it earlier, but I missed most of your reading. But Sandy has joined us there. You can see.
Oh right, cool. Hang on.
Maybe you heard it, but I was having some problems, you know, getting you on my screen, you know. So.
Oh right, yeah, I couldn't get connect onto the internet, and then once I did, the Hangout with them.
Happy birthday plus one. Happy birthday plus one, right?
Yeah. Well, basically,
I wanted to ask you: did you do anything special for you yesterday? I know you were about Chico yesterday. Did you do anything special for you?
Yes, yeah, thank you. I did. Yeah, yesterday I wasn't here because it was. Well, actually, I was taking Chico. The two things coincided to the vet in the morning, and then yeah, I was out with friends and having some wine and stuff, and I bought a new book, so, some nice stuff. So thank you, yeah. But yeah, just for the book, what I was reading was basically he's talking about the alibi of if and the different. It's actually quite interesting, the different alibis that people have for why they're not being successful, and there was loads of them. So it's a shame that you guys didn't hear them. but basically it'll be in the video replay. But it was things like if I lived in the right neighborhood, if I was born into a rich family, if more people knew me, if I had the right support around me, and it was a very long list actually of all these different excuses that I think sometimes we find unconsciously. You know, we don't even realize that we have them going on, but we do somewhere have this kind of reason why. Oh, that's why I'm not yet, you know, successful, or whatever it is that your target is. And so he's just sharing basically that there's no, you know, he's saying that none of those mean anything. That if you truly desire something, you get a good plan, and you are persistent, then you can make it happen. What if, as Annie says, she prefers to put what if in front. What if shows up easily. Yeah, but that's kind of different. Like what he's talking about here is just when people have these unconscious beliefs about why something's not coming to them that they would like, which I think is quite useful because sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it, and it's actually our own way of. It's like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yes. And so if we have these weird beliefs about, well, I'm not yet successful in this field or whatever it is. She's saying she's understands the point but has moved on from that. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Did you want to share anything about that? Oh, so you didn't hear either, Glenn. Well,
you know, I didn't hear, but I had read it. I had kind of glanced at it briefly because I figured you had internet problems there, you know.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that somebody I worked with once said is if we're a skiff, we could sail forever. Right? You know, and I think that was kind of a cool thought, you know. If we're a skiff, we can sail forever. Oh, looks like we're frozen here. We'll just wait. Well, the other point I wanted to talk about was ifs are kind of like the little mini seedlings of doubt too. And I went to a seminar last week, and the guy was talking about if too, and he said a lot of people say if I weren't so young, or if I weren't so old. But you know what? That's not a reason to ever stop, you know, proceeding with your dream and with what you're trying to work for in life, you know. Anyway, well, we'll have to wait for a minute here to see if Sandy will come back. Kind of internet connections, I guess. So Sandy, can you hear Sandy? Because it appears that she's kind of frozen right now. There. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You have any comments to make about if? I guess you said you moved on from that, right? So or have I? That's interesting. I think we all. I think ifs. A lot of times we throw ifs in there. Like I said, I think they're seedlings, you know, for doubt, you know, and so it kind of relates to what we had read earlier too, I believe, and that is that you know, you have to take a look at doubts and fears and put them in check appropriately. Looks like Sandy's going to be joining us through another.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I see you're having little connection problems there, right?
Yeah, something's not quite working today. Yeah. So all I was just saying is that this book, it's actually really interesting. I recommend it, The Millionaire Next Door. It just shows that even if you are born rich, often that's not. Yes, people do then have this vibration, I believe, where they just expect wealth, and that's massively helpful. But often their parents didn't speak to them about how to create money, or how to how they had created that money, or how to sustain it, and they would just kind of spend, and they didn't have that wealth consciousness of knowing how to actually create it. They just kind of expected it to be there. And a lot of and he basically, the authors, husband and wife, they split the people they interviewed up into two different categories, main categories, and one was people with wealth that were cautious spenders of that wealth, and then people that didn't really care and like just spent as much as they were making. And often those people were the ones that would lavish the most on their children, and often the situations didn't end very well, actually, because the parents would run out of money and the kids would then have no money, and the kids wouldn't know how to actually create that money, and it was really, really funny. And so then the parents that were more kind of aware that yes, they had created money, but it's something that you have to sustain and nurture and be aware of, not just kind of unconsciously spending everything that comes in. Those people tended to have wealth that was much more sustainable and that they passed on through generations.
Yeah.
So maintaining wealth. Yeah, that's exactly it, Zanny. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really an interesting thing to discuss too, Sandy, because think about it. If you were born into a family and of great wealth, right? Think of how hard of a challenge it is then to kind of put yourself together so that you don't just do nothing in the world, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other words, you would have that incentive, that part of the drive of your life is kind of settled, right? So now you have to work on yourself in a different way. I think I think that's a really interesting thing. And then the other side of that is oftentimes rock stars or people that win the lotto or whatever. They're into tremendous money, but it ruins their life because they do not have the discipline, right? They haven't developed the discipline, right, to learn how to use money in the way, in the appropriate way. That wasn't grown into them before they got the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for some people that does happen. Yeah, like they don't. It's like there's surveys which show that people that win the lottery often find themselves back at the same position a few years later, but just with more zeros. If they were in debt before, they find themselves back in debt again, but just in bigger debt.
The money's gone, right?
The money's gone. Yeah.
Zandy says, maintaining wealth. Paul McCartney keeps making music. He says, what else can I do with my day? Sting is also very creative and generative, and I think those are good examples. And how about Bono, too? Bono is down in Africa helping people, and they said to him, well, Bono, you've got millions of fans, and you've got all this. He said, that's empty, man. He said, that's empty, man. He's in Africa helping people. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I think if people, I think that I think when rock stars and people have gone into breakdowns and things, I don't think it's just the money. I think it's a combination of things. But I think staying true to the things that moved you in the first place, like Zanny's saying, like staying creative, staying
create more. Yes, yeah. I see what Zandy's saying too. Create more Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? Which means that, when you satisfied your basic food, shelter, and clothing, right? So now you move to a little bit better level. Who here could handle £1 million? Well, that's true. But I would hope so that at our age and with the work we've done to accumulate any wealth, we would have developed the muscle to handle that. Well, looks like let's see. Well, looks like we've lost Sandy again. Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll probably terminate when Sandy comes back on. Did NH start off in the average family? Did NH? Zanny, Napoleon Hill. Oh no, he started out quite poorly. In fact, when we do the lecture notes, they talk a little bit about his background and some of his experiences as he grew as a young person. And Napoleon, in fact, came from a rather poor background, you know, right? Right, Sandy?
Oh, it just cut out on me, so I haven't.
Yeah, you were gone for a while there, and so I was just trying to discuss with Zandy online here. She was talking about who here could handle £1 million. I wonder, you know, and I would hope that we would have the muscle to handle that, right?
Yeah.
We ran into it. Then she said, "Did NH start off in an average family income?" Napoleon, you know, so you know a lot about that too, right? You know,
Napoleon Hill. Yeah, Napoleon. Actually, we're going to be reading about it in the lecture notes. It's so fascinating. He started out very poor. There's even he even describes in the lecture notes at one point how his mum had died. He came from a poor family, and at one point his mum had died, and he was sitting by a river, hungry, with no money to buy any food, and just feeling very kind of sorry for himself. And he was just a young boy, and he describes how he had this vision of himself in a luxury car driving back to that spot much later on, and he started to daydream about that and think about that, and that actually many years later he did go back to that same spot. And he was basically sharing that even when you're down, you have to keep dreaming, because things can always get better. And you know, like he says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
He actually created a burning desire, right, out of that dream. Oh, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even when he was researching the book and of Think and Grow Rich, he wasn't being paid to do it. You know, it wasn't. He wasn't getting a salary from anyone, or he was working as a life insurance salesman at the same time to make ends meet, and researching the book in his spare time. And so I think I've just exaggerated that a little bit. I think it wasn't just spare time, it was like half his time. But he had to keep going for 25 years.
Yeah, without any income from that work, right?
Yeah.
That work was just basically free until he completed it. You know.
I think that's really inspiring. Sometimes I remember that because, you know, I think often today we want things really quickly, and we tend to be like, okay, boom, boom, boom. We expect things to be as easy as a click of a button. Yeah. And history shows, you know, that he says that at some points he'd get so down about things that he would go and see. He had 2 people that supported him, because everyone around him was saying, "You're crazy. You know, you're working for one of the richest men on the planet," because it was Andrew Carnegie's idea, kind of like Richard Branson back then. And Andrew wasn't paying him. He just gave him his address book, which was, you know, probably worth millions actually. But people don't get that. You know, people that don't think like this would see that as they're very linear. They would be like, "You're doing interviews. Why are you not getting money for this?" They wouldn't see the bigger picture. Napoleon did, and he said he had 2 people that he could count on when he was feeling overwhelmed by those kinds of negativity. And one was Andrew Carnegie, the person who had the idea for the book, and the other was his stepmother, weirdly enough. And he would go to her and say, you know, tell her what was on his mind, and she would say, look, keep going. I believe in you. I believe in your idea, and I know that you will be one of the richest person in your family, in our family, for 3 generations at least. And she would say something like that to him, and she was right.
She must have had a lot of power, Sandy, right? You know, as a partner in believing, she must have had a lot of power.
Yeah, because there was only 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, what with the power she had. By the way, Zanny says that what happened to Sting is he saw the Queen Mother drive through town one day, saw how the wealthy lived, and decided to have that for himself. Great woman, what a person to hold a vision for him. Oh yeah, Queen Mom, right? She was amazing. She lived to like 102 or something like that. You know,
yeah, but I think she means the stepmom holding the vision for Napoleon.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, that too. Yeah. Yes, I see what you mean. Yes, she says yes, stepmom. Yes. Well, it looks like we're having a tough time on our little connection today here. So, let's see. Gap. Okay, we'll have to leave a gap. It says. Okay, so I think when Sandy comes back on, maybe we'll terminate and continue tomorrow, probably with the lecture notes. And that's an interesting read in and of itself. It adds a lot of dimension to the book. Zanny, to answer that, no, I don't. Well, I do have some friends that are in pretty good straits as far as wealth, and they are kind of partners in believing with me too. But I wouldn't disclose who they were because I don't know that that's probably a good thing to do. How about you? Do you have anyone like Carnegie in your dream? Inner world team. Okay, here comes Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna just have to end the hangout. I keep cutting.
We'll have to terminate for today, huh?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
By the way, I wanted to say how nice it was, the video you did on telling better stories. Wonderful.
Oh,
wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful. I saw Greg commented too. I loved that.
Yeah.
You know, he does speaking events over here. You know.
Yeah. Greg is the author of Why Quantum Physicists Do Not Fail. So will you go and see him?
Yeah. Well, I think when I see the next one, if it's nearby, I'll definitely go. You know.
Yeah.
But I can visualize you speaking at one of his events. Maybe in Europe.
Yeah.
Or maybe over here. You know.
Yeah.
I told Janet that the other day. I can visualize that. I can see that. You know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd love that. The book, I think about the book every single day now. It's the tools, I'm using them. So, Oh, sorry, I had to close the bit open. Okay. Okay, I better go.
Okay.
So, sorry, the housemate coming in.
Andy said, "Bye then, folks." She said.
Yeah, bye, Zanny, and sorry everyone for.
She had asked too. Have you invited anyone like Carnegie into your dream team? Well, you know, mentally, I think we've done it right. But I can't say that I know a person of the stature of Carnegie, you know, that could be a mastermind, you know. But I know some people that are rather wealthy that have done very well in life, and I think that they kind of are a partner in believing because, you know, we interact and
Yeah.
so that's good, you know. So.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, and it's and the cool thing with the special advisors is you can do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be someone who's alive.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have a great day, Sandy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for coming on, and to you, Zanny, as well. Great to have you here. And let's
Are
hope
you
that
up?
tomorrow's
Are you
connection
up to
is
Skype
better.
later? Are you up for a Skype later, or are you real busy today?
I'm catching up quite a lot today because I didn't do anything yesterday. So um, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. um, yeah.
Well, we'll just
Um,
play by ear, right?
if I have time, I'll log in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Have a
All
great
right
day,
then. Have a
everybody.
great day, everyone. Thank
Bye
you.
bye, Sandy. Thank you.
Bye, Glenn. Thanks to you. Thanks, Annie. Bye.
Bye bye.